out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. Let's hear it. Root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. But it's one who respect around and be all holding. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. Let's hear it. Good for the whole team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's one who...
Hey, folks, Talking Baseball is back. Season 9, Episode 4. For those of you that have watching us for the first time, because we understand we're being seen in several states and perhaps countries,
Yes,
the procedures, we just chat about baseball, not strictly the Red Sox. And we have things like trivia contests and Fenway memories. But what makes us really shine is Dan, John, and Debbie helping us out behind the scenes.
Yes.
They make sure we're at the same height.
Yes, this is due to them. I'm Jason Smith and Pete Lincoln. We are your co-hosts, and we're not really the same height. This is the magic of television right here, that we look the same height, and television really does add 10 pounds. It's very true.
And I should just say, I'd like to wish myself happy birthday.
Yes.
I just turned 81. And for those of you out there that think that I looked only 82, this is a surprise to you all.
And you've attended a game at Fenway how many years?
74 straight seasons.
That's amazing, isn't
74
it?
seasons.
74. So I may not even be here at age 74. Who
So
knows?
they won 4 World Series and lost 70. So my percentage of non-heartbreak is about 7%.
Yeah, but you're better than Cleveland, which is 1 in that time.
But
so.
I don't live in Cleveland. So
Right,
I
you don't
go to
live in
games.
Cleveland, so you don't care. So we are coming to you from very, very late June, where we haven't had much of a summer here in the Northeast. It's been a cold, rainy mess. But that hasn't stopped the baseball season from progressing.
Actually, as we speak, there's a violent thunderstorm going outside.
Yeah.
So if there's suddenly loss of electricity, we'll probably have a little
Candlelight show,
Candlelight
perhaps,
show.
for you.
So we're going to start out this show with, since the last show we did last month, there's been several little items to talk about.
Milestones, yeah.
Little interesting little tidbits. Let's start with Alex Cora just scored his 400th win as a manager.
Amazing. 400 wins.
400 wins. However, of the 49 managers of the Red Sox, he now ranks 21st.
21st, yes. So there he is, piloting the team from some dugout. And, those of you astute fans remember when he was actually a player for the Red Sox, too. He was part of the 07 team. And this is his 5th season when you count with a little gap in the middle.
Little gap when he was being naughty.
Yeah, banging some garbage cans. We won't talk about that.
Just for you fans' edification, the person with the longest reign as a Red Sox manager was Joe Cronin.
Joe Cronin, yes.
Who was a player manager all during the late 30s and early 40s. And then the second one was Tito Francona.
Tito Francona,
Tito
currently
Francona.
managing the Guardians, yes.
right.
Tito.
Now, a question for you, Jake.
Okay.
The Red Sox have only had 2 managers of the year. Can you name them?
Oh, I bet I can.
All right,
I
go
bet I
ahead and
can.
try.
You want me to do it right now?
Absolutely.
Okay. I know for sure, astoundingly, because he was not a good manager, I know one is Jimmy Williams.
Yes. 1999.
Yes, and the other...
He was manager of the year because Pedro pitched.
Pedro carried the team that year, exactly. And then the other, I think, didn't McNamara win it in 86?
Johnny
Yes.
Mac.
Another terrible manager who rode Clemens the entire year, we might add. So do you think there's a correlation between an ace pitcher and a team doing well? I don't know. I remember, Jimmy Williams used to, you know what's funny? Jimmy Williams actually would be a better manager nowadays than he was then, because Jimmy Williams would automatically pull the starter after 5 or 6 innings and chew through the bullpen, and that's kind of what they do nowadays.
Well, if he was manager nowadays, he's dead, so he probably wouldn't make bad decisions.
That's true. I just remember one of the... Because if you remember right, the Red Sox did not have good offense teams with Jimmy Williams, and he didn't care about offense. He just threw guys in the lineup wherever, and I remember Mike Benjamin, who was a guy they got for defense. He was a defensive specialist. He DH'd him. Smart, Jimmy. Real smart. Let's DH the defensive specialist. Awesome. That's good stuff. How many 3-2 games did they win or lose with Jimmy Williams?
We're not always positive on this show, folks.
We're blunt on this show, everyone.
Just honest is another
Yes,
way to put it.
honest. I think that's a good way to put it. Honest.
Another milestone was reached by Craig Kimbrell, who just reached his 400th save.
Yes, congrats to Craig Kimbrell,
So
former
we've-
Sox closer.
We've had a 400 save person on 2 shows in a row.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've noticed this. Kimbrell's resurrected his career this year. In the last, since May 1st, he's gone 4-0 with 8 saves and a 1.35 ERA. He's back in the closing role for the Phillies, and there's his sort of water crane stance. I don't really know what you'd call it at that point, but
He had the weirdest,
he really did.
stance.
But congrats to Kimbrell, and he's slowly moving up the ranks for career saves. He's in the 7th or 8th. I think.
He's number
isn't he?
8. Here
Number
we go.
8, yes.
Rivera, Hoffman, Smith, and Efrod, Franco, Wagner, Jansen, Kimbrell, Eckersley, and Nathan. Those were the top 10.
Nathan's 10th.
Nathan's
Huh?
10th.
So Jansen and Kimbrell are going to be bouncing around each other for another
they're
year or
pretty
two.
close.
Yes.
It's pretty close.
So they're probably going to pass Wagner, I imagine. They'll be 5 or 6 by the time they retire. So congrats to Mr. Kimbrell, ex-Red Sox.
Next one's sort of a sad moment. Jackie Bradley has finally retired.
Yes.
Jackie Bradley managed to make a 10-year career, which puts him in the top
He gets tenure.
top 10-year requirement with a batting average of 225 in a time when not everybody hit 225.
No, this is the 60s, different story. It's kind of sad. He only managed to hit 133 and the Royals released him. But honestly, I'm a little younger. I didn't see Fred Lynn play in his prime. Jackie Bradley is the best defensive outfielder I've ever seen for the Red Sox. And, you know, when you're scoring a lot of runs, you can have a guy like that hitting 9th. But when you're not scoring runs, you just can't afford to carry a guy like that.
He did have one great season. I was surprised. In 2016, he played 156 games.
He made the All-Star team that year, didn't he?
They had an all-star outfield.
Yeah, right. They had all 3 in the outfield.
Not that year.
Oh,
it was 2018.
18, okay.
Where they had Benintendi
And Betts and Bradley, that's right.
But in 2016, he had scored 94 runs, 149 hits, 87 RBIs, 63 stolen bases, and he hit 267.
Yeah, he had a good year.
That'd be in the top 10 this year.
Yeah, sure would. It sure would be. Yeah. He also was the MVP of the 2018 ALCS against the Astros
With 3 hits.
3 hits, but they were 3 monster hits.
And he knocked in 11 runs with 3 hits.
Right. Hey, he came through when it counted, right? So cheers to Jackie Bradley. I'm sure they'll bring him back at Fenway at some point for a little, a little fare thee well, like they do for all the ex players.
He was an amazing fielder.
He really was.
He had the sense of being able to run to where the ball was going to come down without looking.
Right, it's amazing.
Run and then turn around and there would be.
And especially what he did during those prime years when he and Betts were in the outfield, what it did is it allowed Betts to sneak over more towards right field. How many catches did Betts make in the right field corner? Well, that was because Bradley could cover all the ground in center. Betts could cheat over that way. So it's defense is a domino thing. You have one good defender, it sets up everyone else in the outfield.
So he went up to Toronto from the Sox, then to Milwaukee for a while, and then the Kansas City let him go this year.
Yeah.
He did nothing. Another interesting, I think this is really extraordinary. Daniel Bard is back.
Daniel Bard is back. You might have seen him. The Red Sox played the Rockies earlier this year, and he came in and totally shut the Red Sox down in 2 of the Rockies' wins. I was surprised. He actually had 34 saves last year out of nowhere, and he has a 1.40 ERA this year. He's back in his setup role. I think what really, really stalled his career is when they tried to make him a starter.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he was an ace, 7th and 8th inning guy. I think he was in 70 games 2 years in a row. And then for God knows what reason, they tried to make him a starter, and he got the yips. He couldn't throw strikes. Yeah. So
I don't know where it's going to go.
I don't know where it's going. I wouldn't be digging in if I were you. Yeah. So
he was out of baseball.
He was out of baseball
for 7 years. 7 years.
And the Rockies took a chance on him, and now he's back in the bullpen. He could make the All-Star team. Who knows? So I think that's just a great story of perseverance just you have the talent, let's hone it. And he had to start from square one in his mid-30s, and now he's back in baseball.
That's
So
right.
congrats to Mr. Bard.
I don't know if anybody else had that long a gap.
Yeah, it was a long
Possibly
gap.
because of the war, but I don't
Right.
think there's that long.
No.
That's pretty difficult.
That really, I mean, I remember the Blue Jays did something like that with Halladay where they sent him way down, but he was back within a couple of years.
Oh, yeah,
It wasn't a 7-year gap like Bard had. Yeah.
I wonder what he did. What he did during that
I
time.
have no idea.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, we'll have to find out.
Some
how
of our
Bard was
viewers out
employed.
there know. Let us know.
If Daniel Bard was employed, what he was doing out there.
Working at McDonald's or
Who knows? Who knows? We get some fries with that. So something else that's been in the baseball news, which is really, again, pretty extraordinary. Luis Arraez from the Marlins, as we speak, has a .399 batting average. There he is right there. And as we all know, no one has hit 400 since Teddy in 1941.
Right.
And and as we know, batting average has sort of fallen by the wayside as an important stat. OPS and things like that have taken over, but it's still pretty extraordinary for a guy to hit almost 400. I mean, it's I think they said it's the latest in the season somebody's been at 400 since Olerud, I think it was, or Nomar. Nomar made it into July, but here we are a couple days before July, and he's at 399.
there was Gwynn was there quite a while.
Yeah. Brett was there for quite a
Brett
while.
was there quite a while, yeah.
But I remember Nomar, I think it was 2000, made it into July at 400, and then he tailed off to about 370.
Well, what's extraordinary about Arraez is that there are only 9 players in the majors hitting over 300.
Right, and he's almost at 400.
And he is 73 points ahead of number 2.
Yes. It's
And he's
unbelievable.
140 points ahead of everyone else on the Marlins.
On the yeah, right. I know, it's amazing.
And he played against Fenway at Fenway last night, and he swings like a weak Boggs.
Yeah, he has just a little slap
little
swing,
slap
but he
swings.
just bloops it over the infield, and he gets his hits.
He struck out last night for the first time in something like 78 times.
Right, yeah, 70, and then he got 2 hits.
Yeah.
He went 2 for 5, but his average stayed the same.
He's
Imagine
built
that.
like a mini Tony Gwynn.
He is. He's a
little
stocky,
chunky little guy.
Yep. But man, he handles that bat. Any pitch he tried to get, Whitlock threw him one that was way down in it. He just kind of golfed it out to center field. So that's something. That's a huge baseball story. Something to follow as the year goes on. Is how long can Arraez stay around 400?
He won the batting title last year with the Twins
Yes.
at 316.
Right. No.
I don't think the average fan knows the name.
No. Well,
They just came out with the
they just because the Marlins don't have a big crowd across baseball. So I've just been informed that Daniel Bard was a player mentor and a mental skills coach in the minors. Oh,
Thanks to the
interesting.
truck.
Thanks to the truck for the info. Fantastic.
I'm sorry I slandered him with the McDonald's remark.
So the truck. See, this is why we have our producers. We call them the truck because they give us information.
Well, the big league announcers have things in the ears.
Oh yeah, we don't have that here. We have
They
handwritten notes.
They just
so.
tell them what to say all the time.
Or they say things that are not appropriate for television, I'm sure. So anyway, but you're right. I think because Arraez plays in Miami, which is not a baseball haven at all, I think he kind of gets overlooked. If this was happening at the big market team, oh my God, they'd have cameras everywhere and have the Arraez,
They just announced
countdown
they
and-
just announced the first 2 candidates for the All-Star game
Right.
at each position.
Right.
No sign of him.
Right, he's not
sign of
there.
him.
Yeah, scary.
He'll probably make it though.
Oh, I'm sure he'll make. I think he will. Yeah, I think he'll be there for Miami. Yes.
Now a couple of things that are kind of sad that happened or frightening that happened in a game at Yankee Stadium on not Father's Day, near Father's Day.
Near Father's Day.
Houck was struck in the face by a ball.
Yeah, this is really terrifying. It's too bad because Houck was really starting to round into form as a good starter, and I'm amazed it doesn't happen more often.
I was
To be
just gonna
honest
say
with
that.
you, I mean, you're 60 feet away, and these guys, you hear exit velocity, and it's consistently over 100 miles an hour.
right.
You can't react that fast. 60 feet away, and something's coming at you 100
And
miles
there's
an
no way
hour.
to protect a pitcher. He can't wear a helmet.
Right. And you can't really have a visor because that's
There's
going to get
nothing
in the
you
way
can
of your
do.
motion. So it's
And what's what's ironic, it's the second year in a row a Yankee is finished off a Red Sox pitcher.
Yeah, they did it to Sale last
Sale's
year.
finger was broken by a line drive.
Yeah.
And I guess Houck has a facial fracture.
Right.
Who knows how long he'll be out.
Yeah, and it also makes you wonder what the mental toll on someone like
Exactly.
would do
Yep.
because if that's me, that's gonna be in the back of my mind every single time I pitch at this point. I mean, so who knows what's gonna happen with Houck? I mean, I think do we have a clip of that for to show people at home? We'll
see that.
All right.
That's in fact it's frightening because hits him and rolls all the way to foul territory.
Scary.
There's been I'm surprised there haven't been more pitchers hit. But the Red Sox have had a couple terrible ones.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll show you this clip and then we'll get into some other pictures here. All right, so the one that I remember most of all was Bryce Fleury.
that was terrible.
That was awful. Bryce Fleury got hit in the eye, and it shattered all his eye socket bones, and they had to carry him off the field, and he had to do all these exercises to even get his vision back. And he did come back and pitch in the majors very briefly afterwards.
What was so sad though was he was probably, if he hadn't been hit, probably going to be sent down or released within a week because he was number 25
right.
on the roster.
He was a fringe guy. He was a quadruple A guy.
So you can't demote someone with an injury.
Right.
So they kept him on the
They
roster
had to
for
carry
over
him.
a year.
Yeah, they had to carry him on the
And
roster.
he came back, threw a couple times, and they released him.
And that was it. He was done. He was done. But that was really bad. That was that was terrifying. I remember Dick Pole got hit once too,
Right.
back in the 70s. That was a bad one too. But you're right. You think about it. It's just the odds of that happening. You would think would be more than what it actually does happen.
right.
I mean, and think about how often just the pitcher just kind of goes like this and has time to react, and you can't react that fast. I mean, it's that's why these guys get paid, ladies and gentlemen.
and so many pitchers in their follow through aren't in a position to defend themselves.
They're defenseless. Yeah, right. They're defenseless.
Sale's a good example. He falls through
Falls
this
way
way
off the mound. And Kimbrel's another one. We just showed him when Kimbrel throws, he's way off.
That's right.
If he can't get his glove out in time to even defend himself. So.
or even duck.
Yeah, right. Well, his beard would catch it, maybe. I don't know. And another sad injury is we were dreading that this one would happen, and it did. Chris Sale is back on the IL.
Back on the IL.
Yeah, which
And they still have him through 25.
right.
Since 2019, he has pitched a total of 100 innings in 5 years.
Yeah.
That's average of 20 innings a year at $30 million per year.
$30 million per year.
And they got him to win a World Series. He did, and then they're stuck with him for 7 more
Yeah,
years.
they did. Yeah, and prior to the injury, he had Hall of Fame numbers. Prior to the injury, he was setting records for lowest amount of base runners and highest strikeouts, and he has such a violent motion that I don't know if you can ever correct that. I mean, what do you do? I mean, the guy's pitched like that till he's 30. How do you change a pitcher's motion mid-career like that?
Most of the pitchers that last a long time have legs like tree trunks.
Oh, Clemens is the AA one example.
Tom Seaver would
Seaver,
push off,
yes,
and his knee would hit the ground when he pitched.
Right, yeah.
But Sale is just this
it's
long,
all
lanky, and it's just from his shoulder. And after a while, that's got to take where the erosion on your shoulder and your elbow, it's got to happen.
Well, any physician will tell you this is an unnatural motion.
Right.
It's an unnatural motion to throw overhand, and there's only so many times that your body can do it. Especially at that age. Back in the day when Cy Young pitched and it was a cloth ball, and then you just sort of lobbed it in there. You could do that day in and day out, but these guys who throw 100 miles an hour, your body has to have a certain torque, and you have to turn your body.
You just have to have an extraordinary build, like Walter Johnson.
Right.
Pitched 25 years, won 416 games with a crappy team.
Right.
Just because his physique was extraordinary.
Right.
But a little guy like Pedro, he didn't. He was great for a while,
But it didn't last.
but he just didn't have the physical ability to do that
Yeah.
long.
Oh.
It's. I wonder if they could ever figure out a way for men to throw underhand.
I don't know. That's
Girls can throw underhand.
Sure, yeah, the softball teams can.
Kids
Yeah,
can throw
yeah.
hard.
And some of the guys, remember that there aren't many now, but remember the old side armors back
Oh,
in the
yeah.
80s and 90s, and a ton of those side arm. Who was the Mark Eichhorn? Remember that guy? His hand would almost hit the
When
ground.
I was a kid, it was Sid Hudson.
Oh, really?
He,
Yeah.
It was actually throw. It was weird. The ball was coming up out of the ground
Yeah.
at you.
Oh, who was the guy? Chad Bradford. Remember
Yeah.
the Red
Oh,
Sox
yes.
had him for his hand would almost hit the pitcher's mound on the way, and it would just sort of come in like a frisbee like this. I don't think there are any real side armors in the game today
Actually,
anymore.
once you adjust to it,
Yeah, it's not.
it's
yeah.
not. You can't throw that hard that way
Well, I think that
because you don't have the push from your legs the same
right,
way.
and I think what killed that is the 3-batter rule. You know, you can't have that side armor lefty come in for 1 or 2 batters every day. You know, the 3-batter rule's kind of taken that weapon away from. But
I don't think there are any anymore.
I don't think there are any. No.
Not that I've seen.
LaRusso was the one who used to stock up on those guys. Remember, he had 2 or 3 in all his bullpens.
Well, we're going to have to take a quick break here for an advertisement to take care of our sponsors, and we'll be back right after that. And now a quick word from one of our sponsors. Baseball fans, do you miss tangible tickets? Didn't buying tickets at the ballpark window or getting them in the mail give you a warm feeling of anticipation and security? Tickets are gone, replaced by electronic codes on cell phones that allow ballpark entry by satellite permission. Humbug! Jason and I went to Clemens' 20 strikeout game on April 29, 1986. I still have those stubs framed with a photo of the umpire calling the 20th strikeout. I cherish those stubs. Pasio's latest engineering device called StubHub attaches to your phone after games and prints out ticket stubs for you to keep and collect. Now fans can have souvenirs of the game just like we used to before the mysteries of the electronic age spirited them away. Just call 555-OICU-812 and ask for Guido at StubHub Bub. You'll be astonished at the low, low price. And now back to our show.
And welcome back.
Welcome back. It's time for trivia.
All right, time for trivia.
Just
Here we
again
go.
for you folks, what we've used to do is just ask the generic trivia question to our audience. The responses were minimal.
Minimal.
And so we changed it to Stump
Stump-
Jason.
Stump me.
Jason, okay? Now this one, I don't know, you might find this easy or very difficult.
Okay.
We never talked about the immaculate inning. I'm not sure all our viewers know exactly what an immaculate inning is.
An immaculate inning, yes. It's when you have an inning where you throw 9 pitches for 3 strikeouts. In other words, strike 1, 2, 3, strike 3, 1, 2, 3, strike 3, 1, 2, 3, strike 3. It's extraordinarily difficult to do.
I did some research on it.
Okay.
In 120 years, it's happened 90 times.
Okay.
There are only 3 pitchers that actually pitched 3 immaculate innings. Max Scherzer, Sandy Koufax, and that's the question.
Do I have to guess now?
No, of course
Okay.
not. No, not now.
I think I know who it is, but I'm not 100% sure.
I give you a hint.
Yep.
We've spoken of him.
I think I know who it is then. Yes, that's who I was thinking of. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking
Okay,
of.
we'll be back with that
We'll be
answer
back.
in a while.
We'll let you ponder that one at home and see if you can think about it.
And look up, Pedro had an immaculate inning.
He did.
And Rick Porcello had
Yeah,
one.
that's what I remember. Yeah, I was
Rick
going to say
Porcello
somebody
had one.
weird had one. Yes.
Usually it's not wise, but you don't try to strike people out in 3 pitches. You strike them, get 2 strikes on them, and then try to get them a suck for something.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Throw one in
yeah,
the dirt.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the immaculate inning is what
Or
it's
a lot
called.
of guys are just pitch to contact guys. They're not really going well, like Porcello. That's why it was so weird that he did it. Somebody else bizarre was an ex-Red Sox did it recently, and I couldn't believe that he did it.
I don't know.
I forget who.
I looked it up. It's all there.
Yeah. So that's a good trivia question for today.
Now, here's the topic that we want to talk about today. If you've watched much baseball, you know that catching a foul ball is equivalent to winning the lottery.
Oh God.
Catching a foul ball.
Ah,
If
celebration.
if you're a little kid, you go nuts. If you're an old man, you go nuts. They used to have a flat roof on the top of Fenway that was covered with tar paper.
Right.
I was sitting up there once, and a foul ball came over and landed on the tar. A man in a business suit and a tie jumped over the barrier and dove after it and ripped his pants all to hell, came up with this ball like he just found the golden fleece or something. Thrilled out of his mind to get a $5 ball.
$5 ball. He ruined a $500 suit.
But it's so funny. Or if someone makes a great catch,
Oh yeah.
the whole place goes
Oh,
berserk.
hey, all right, great catch.
Especially if you're up in the upper deck and you grab one one-handed.
Yeah. The best one that Sean McDonough was a classic at this. If you ever watched a McDonough game, and I remember one time a guy caught one, and they showed on the camera, and this very gorgeous girlfriend, wife of his, came up and just gave him this enormous kiss for catching the ball, and she started cheering, and McDonough just says, the fruits of victory.
But when people catch one, they immediately get on their phone.
Oh yeah, oh, you see me on the or they get the call. Hey, we saw you do it. Hey, Doug, we saw you out in the bleachers catching. Oh, if they're in the monster seats. Oh my God, that's a real. They send Jemai out there to talk to him if they catch him out in the monster
and
seats.
they fight over them.
Oh.
It used to be, in the old days, balls hit into the stands were retrieved
Right.
by the ushers,
Right.
because they couldn't afford.
They couldn't afford
sure.
them. Right.
And what happened after the baseball strike in '94? They got the word to anytime you get a ball at the end of the inning or a foul ball, you just pick up off the ground, flip it into the
I remember
stands.
that. I remember that because prior to that, yeah, they were very stingy about giving balls away. They
right.
never ever did that. You're right. The strike was what prompted.
And now they've in fact, usually when the first baseman comes in, if he catches the ball, he flips into the
flips
stands
into the stand,
automatically.
sure.
And
Oh,
people,
yeah.
people try to get seats in that area.
Right.
They're going to get a shot at it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And there are foul ball sweet spots too, of course.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
if you're in the upper deck on the left or right field, but halfway between first and third, or right behind home plate is another good one too, right? And the announcers get all into it. Oh, we got one up here, and they rag on each other when they don't catch it.
Or they jump out of the way.
Or just be John Sterling and let it hit you in the face, like it just happened a couple weeks ago. So I couldn't watch that on replay enough. Let me tell you. Sorry, no, I'm not
But
sorry.
it's
John.
just something strange.
It's something about it's just
it's
that
a $5 baseball.
but it's a moment of victory during you have a keepsake for the rest of your life that you were at the game.
I mean, they don't do that in football, basketball.
No, they don't. No, in hockey you get a puck occasionally, a few times a game, but not like baseball.
You don't want them.
No. And and of course that's been reduced because of the safety netting that's now in place, which is a good thing. Trust us. The way that exit velocity is now, you do not want 100-mile-an-hour line drives screaming into the stands like that. We're all for the safety netting. We think that's a good thing. But still, I think it's just something like, out of all the 35,000 people here, I got the ball. I think that's what it is. The odds of this are incredible. And I think they had one where a few years ago, the same guy got 2 foul balls
That's right,
in a
2 in a
row.
row.
He caught one, and then the next pitcher
he's
had
like
the
a
right
celebrity.
one. Right.
Well, I have to tell you, in my family, we have caught 11 balls.
Yes. Yep.
11 times we've gotten the ball. I caught 9. Deb got 1. In fact, the one she got was interesting because we were sitting over in the left field stands, and there was a lefty up. Mm-hmm. And there were people from Anaheim sitting in front of us. Mm-hmm. I said, be careful sitting over here because you better keep your eyes open. We are fairly close to the field. Yeah. Balls come over here pretty hard.
Yeah.
I hadn't just said that, and a rookie lefty hit one. It was heading right for my chest, directly for my chest, and I dove onto the concrete. Yeah. The ball slammed into the seat behind me, and I thought somebody got hurt because I went bam in the back of the seat, and Deb picked it up. I got it.
There we go. And then I got one where the guy tried to beat me up for it. Remember that? It was just a foul ball, and I was actually walking by in the aisle. I wasn't seated. I was walking in the aisle.
I was behind you.
Yes, and a foul ball came and it just hit the concrete once and went right to me. And this guy came over, and it almost turned into Deliverance. It was not fun. The guy tried to like wrestle it from me, and a couple other people stepped aside. Can you let the guy? I was only a teenager. Let the kid have it. Come on.
I caught a foul ball in Baltimore. You were there.
Yes, I remember
And
that. Yeah.
what had happened was we had seats out in the left field stands, and it rained, as it always did in Baltimore.
Always,
The game went into extra innings. A lot of people left, so we moved over behind the screen. Now, in Baltimore, it's odd. They have a screen that goes up, but not one overhead.
Right, it's
like
just
them.
it's just a
So
flat
So
screen.
this
Right.
foul ball came over and landed right smack in my lap.
I remember.
I picked it up to look at it, and some maniac from behind me ripped it out of my hand, made my hand all bloody, and ran away saying, "Ha ha, sucker!"
Yeah, I remember.
So I never got a ball in a foreign territory.
I remember that. Yep, I completely. Yeah. Yeah, I remember he ran away. He was yelling, "Ah, we're a stupid Red Sox fan." Ah.
I think I've got rabies.
Yeah, I know. So it's a great foul ball funny story here. You remember Richie Ashburn, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Hall of Famer. Richie Ashburn, who was in Philadelphia at the time on a bunch of terrible teams, he hit a foul ball into the stands, and it hit a grandmother directly in the face. She was adjusting her grandkid's cap. She never saw it. Hit her right in the face, and he was flustered. The whole park, got quiet, and they put the grandmother. She was okay. They put her on the stretcher, and they started bringing her and carting her out of the park. And so the game resumed, and the next pitch, Ashburn hit another foul ball, and it hit her on the stretcher as they were taking her out of the game. True story. Look it up. True story. So those are the odds, and I think her grandson said, "Grandma, can you go to the Eagles game and get hit with a football?" I think that I don't know if that's true enough, but look it up. Richie Ashburn hit a grandma 2 pitches in a row with a foul
That
ball.
reminds me of the story of Rube Waddell. There was some batter that he really didn't like, so he nailed him with a pitch, reached first base, and then he nailed him with a pickoff.
Right, hit him on first base.
Got him twice.
Right. But it's just so like we have a clip. So there was a classic one at Fenway Park about a week or two ago that we have a clip of involving 2 young brothers. And the younger brother didn't quite understand that this was a token of victory, that there was a ball given to him. And well, we'll show you what happens here.
This went viral.
Oh yeah, it went viral. Yes,
Viral.
yes.
It was talking about in the news at night.
Right. Yep. So here you go. Enjoy this.
This is really great.
And so they sent. What happened? Jansen was in the clubhouse and he saw it happen. So he sent to Jersey up and all kinds of other autographed balls and all kinds. And they sent the reporters up into the stands.
It was Father's Day.
Right.
And the father handled it pretty well.
He sure did.
He's got one kid having a seizure because he's getting the ball, and the other kid was hiding under the seat.
Hiding because he
trying
was
to get under the seat because he's ashamed of himself. And his wife was down getting some stuff.
Yeah, so she missed
came
the
up,
whole thing.
Says, "What's going on? Why are we on national television?"
Right. Why are my kids crying? I leave you alone for 10 minutes and this is what happens. So, and there is some other one. There's another clip we can show you of just some of the celebratory things that people do when they catch a ball. I have a hunch that it was not this man's first beer when he caught this foul ball in a beer cup. So I'll share that with you right now. And as we said, definitely not his first beer of the game.
Well, and just next time you're watching a game, Watch the people going after balls.
It's unbelievable.
You usually don't pay much attention to watching the game.
right.
Watch what they do.
Well, of course,
It's like when you're on television, people all of a sudden.
oh well. I mean, of course, going for a ball kicked off the whole pizza incident too, with Jerry and Don, which we've rehashed here several times.
Getting a baseball.
Getting a baseball.
And that leads into Fenway memories.
Oh yes, here we go.
Fenway
You
memories.
can kick this one off.
I told you I'd caught 9 balls myself, and I want to share 2 of them with you tonight. This one I got in April of 1965, and in 1992 I had it signed. It was hit by Carl Yastrzemski. It was in the left field stands. It was a rainy day. I had just gone to the game by myself. There wasn't many people standing around me. I remember I had a London fog coat on, and the ball came over, and I took about 3 steps and picked it up. And I had it for 25 years. And then in 1992, for the 25th anniversary of the 67 team, they had a reunion over at Neshoba High School.
I remember this.
With about 25 of the players there.
All the living players.
And I took a newspaper that said Sox win, had them all sign it. But I had this ball to have Carl Yastrzemski sign. And it was thrown by Stu Miller, who was famous for being a little guy and during an All-Star game getting blown off the mound at Candlestick Park.
Yes.
So when I handed him the ball to sign, all the rest of the team started ragging on him because he hit a ball off this little
Stu Miller.
Stu Miller. So he signed it, and I had collected enough by then, so I decided to put them all together. I had them just sitting around my room. I decided to put them together in a plastic case and display them over my bathroom door. So I pulled out a chair, climbed up on the chair and opened the glass case and started putting the balls in, and there was like a little cup for them to set in. I didn't set this one quite right, and it rolled off and landed on the floor. My Dalmatian clincher was great for going after balls.
Yes.
She grabbed it and ran out, I think, out to the living room.
She did. She took him across.
By the time I could catch her, she chewed off all the writing and all the signature, and you can barely see, if you look really close, I think, C-A-L.
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
That's all that's left.
That's all that survived.
It's just like the movie where the dog ate Babe Ruth's signature in Sandlot. My prized possession got eaten.
Eaten by a Dalmatian. And if any of you have Dalmatians, you will believe that story.
I still keep it because it's the same ball 58 years later.
But it's chewed.
The other one was the only fair ball I ever
we were up
caught.
in the bleachers for this. I remember this one. Yes.
This was in 1988, June 13th. We were playing the Yankees, which is unusual because we don't go to Red Sox Yankee games much because the people are crude.
Yeah, to put it mildly, yeah.
So Jack Clark came up with 2 men on, and Roger Clemens was pitching.
That's right.
And he hit a ball to dead center. It bounced off. I was sitting in the second row. I was sitting in section 36, row 2, C4.
See, it is here.
So it bounced off him, and I caught it. I'm looking, I said, oh my God, I just hit a ball, caught a ball that was hit by Jack Clark and thrown by Roger Clemens.
Right.
Clemens and Yastrzemski.
Right.
Oh man. Yeah. And I was walking on air, and everybody started chanting, throw it back, throw it back, throw it back. And I turned around and said, throw yourselves back. I'm keeping this ball. You jump over there, I'll throw you back. I'm keeping this.
Right. What? And that's something I've never understood. Throw it back. What, you only want a ball by your team? I don't quite understand that.
Throw it back.
Throw it back. Forget it. Yeah, that was one of the few games. Clemens got hit hard that game. I remember that.
Lost
one.
12-6.
12-6 was the scene. We have it right
12-6.
on the ball. Jack Clark, soon to be a major mistake for the Red Sox.
Yeah. And he's bankrupt.
And he's bankrupt.
You know who started that throw the ball back was the Cubs.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was that left field bleacher stands.
Oh, yeah, right.
And they started that throw it back, and then other parks picked it up.
Right.
Yankee Stadium does a lot.
Oh,
now.
they do it all the time now.
they're-
Throw it back.
They're terrible fans.
Because they're Yankees fans. So my Fenway memory is quite a bit different. It's not quite a Fenway memory, but it was rather on the way back from a game. Now, for those of you Bostonites who have ever had to fight the T, you can probably relate to this story. We were taking my then girlfriend, current wife now, and we were going to see the Sox, and we took the Orange Line in. And of course, the T was under construction. When is it not? So if you were going past Sullivan Square at night, they shuttled you to Wellington and Malden Center to the last 2 stops. So we had parked at Wellington on the way in, and on the way back, oh, geez, we got to take a shuttle. So they take everyone off at Sullivan Square, and they jam you onto these T-buses to get everyone. And Wellington's a big stop, if you're not familiar with the T. Wellington's one of the biggest stops there. So everybody's jammed onto these buses at Sullivan Square, standing room only, sardines like this. And my wife and I get separated. I'm towards the back of the bus, but I can see her. She's up towards the front. And about 3 rows from the back, just sort of minding my own business, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, someone clearly had the sausage with peppers and onions and beer. Now, it's bad enough when you're in the open air at Fenway. Imagine being on a crowded T-bus and someone lets one of those out, okay? Now, this wasn't just something like it was a local bomb. You could see it go row by row down the bus. The people in front of me were having a conversation, then all of a sudden, oh. And then it would just hit the row in front of them, and you'd see people go, oh. And in front of them, oh my God. And it got to my wife towards the front, and she looked at me with this, fury in her eyes that I hadn't seen since I bought her a vacuum cleaner for Christmas. She looked at me like this, and I just shake my head. Not me. And you know, people try to be polite when that happens sometimes. Eventually, and they were right next to me, there were these probably 2 college-age girls. Finally, one of them broke the silence and said, "What the hell was that?" And everything broke loose at that point. At that point, it's like, geez, the hospital's that way on the Orange Line, pal. I think you're going the wrong way. And that just broke the tension for everyone at that point. But yeah, that was, and we still talk about that to this day. Anytime there's something like that, we say, at least it wasn't as bad as on the T-bus. It was honestly the worst bomb that I've ever smelled in my life. Somebody had clearly had way too much sausage and beer at Fenway Park.
Just quick.
Yeah.
We had a similar thing when we were in Minnesota.
Oh, really?
We were coming back from a ball game.
Really?
And just as something stopped, I don't think it could have been human. I think somebody had some kind of methane.
Some kind of carrion.
And the guy, my friend, he tried to get out of the subway. He's pulling on the doors, ripping, "Let me out! Let me!" He's screaming, "Let me out!" That's enough of that.
So anyway, so that's my Fenway memory to share with you. So people, watch what you eat at Fenway. Have some courtesy for the rest of us, please. And actually, the T right now is still under construction all this time later. And anyone who takes the T into the
There was always construction.
There's always construction on the T.
Here's something we found out, and I'm surprised at this, that I didn't know it at the time. You no longer can protest a game.
Right, and you know what? This came up.
You can't protest a game.
This came
we
up
were
in
watching
the
a
Yankee
game
series.
where the pitcher was not on the rubber. He was
Yes.
3 or 4 inches in front of it.
Right.
And I said, why aren't they protesting this game?
Right, it was Clark Schmidt from the Yankees.
Yes.
It was in the Yankee
Why aren't they
series.
protesting the game? We looked it up. As of 2020, there are no more protests.
Right,
They eliminated protests.
And apparently Cora had said something to the umpires and they just ignored it or whatever. So my question is, what do you do at that point? I guess there's nothing you can do. It's just the umpire's
the
decision,
umpires.
Because clearly, because to me, if there's a rule violation and the umpires ignore it, that's a problem.
I think it's because they have such good replays now.
I think maybe that's it.
But if you remember the famous pine tar incident.
Oh God, yeah, right.
Where they called the game for the Yankees.
Right.
And then they protested
the game, right.
There's some mess. They do this or something.
Yeah, right.
And they used to go up, they make a sign up to the press box.
Right.
This game is being played under protest.
Right, yeah, right.
Happen all the time.
Right. And to make it clear, you can't play a game under protest because of a bad judgment call.
No.
It has to be a rules violation
Right.
that the umpires are allowing or something like that. It had, like the one, I don't know if you remember this one, was it 2019 maybe? I mean, it's a couple of years ago. Good old Angel Hernandez, the Tampa Bay, Kevin Cash tried to do a switch where he put the pitcher in the field and used a pinch hitter.
Right.
And you couldn't do that because for that one at bat, there were 10 guys in the lineup. And Cora filed a protest, which he later dropped, which I don't know why he dropped it because he was 100% right. But that's a case where you would file a protest because Hernandez allowed for one batter, there were 10 guys in the lineup, which you can't do.
There is a listing of all the ones that have been upheld.
Right.
There are not many.
No.
But the Pine Tar one is.
The Pine Tar is the most famous one. Yeah, right. So, and you're right. I didn't know that till we looked it up because I said in the Facebook group I'm in, I said, why isn't this game being protested? And a bunch of people, agreed with me. And somebody said, nope, you can't protest a game anymore. It's completely on the field umpire's judgment what happens. So you learn something new every day, guys. Even
just
with us.
Just to wind down here, we're not sure how much time all these videos are going to take.
Right.
For 2 Sunday nights in a row, ESPN broadcast the Red Sox Yankees
Yeah.
because they say it's the greatest rivalry in sports. Folks, it's not.
It's not.
It might have been in the 70s.
And it might have
but
been
it's
in the
not
2000s. It
anymore.
might have been in the 2000s. It might have been then, but it's not now.
Here's a quote from Cora. It's too much sometimes. Back-to-back Sunday night games, with all due respect to ESPN, come on. There's other teams out there, and people want to watch them.
100% agree. Well, first off, I don't like Sunday night games anyway because that's a travel day. And you penalize the teams that are drawn on a Sunday night because they have other places to be. Remember the year the Sox had a Sunday night game and then they had opening day at Fenway at like noon the next day? I mean, that's not fair to do that. No. And you're right. Second, you're right. They're perfect example. Luis Arraez. Okay, let's have the Marlins get a Sunday night game so most of America can realize who this guy is and get some exposure to people other than the Yankees or Red Sox.
Of course, the only thing is that, oh, that's right. We never gave the trivia answer.
That's right. That is
right.
right.
The truck is lying.
And we have a word from our sponsor coming up, too. So why don't we do the word from our sponsor first, and then we'll do the trivia answer. How about that? Hello, this is Jason Smith, your co-host of Talkin' Baseball. We all know this guy. You know the guy I'm talking about. The guy who speaks only in hot takes he heard on the local radio show. Henry's cheap! They let Mookie walk! Bloom sucks! Fire him and Cora, they're ruining my summer! Yes, that guy who refuses to process facts and logic. That's why I use Hot Takes Takeout. It's an app that eliminates the need to repeat the same points over and over and over again when discussing baseball. It's a simple app for $5.99 a month, and you record your factual, rational statements, store them, and have them ready. For instance, how did they let Bogarts walk? How'd they let him go? You gotta pay a guy like that. How did they let him go? You don't let it go like that go.
The Red Sox did not let Bogarts go. He was a free agent and was free to take the best offer that was given to him by a team, which is the entire point of free agency. He and Scott Boras negotiated the opt-out in his contract specifically so he could hit free agency while still in his prime years. Are you suggesting that the Red Sox should have offered him 12 years?
And see, you've saved your voice from saying the same thing over and over and over again. It prevents laryngitis, and it saves you some sanity. Here's another one. Clemens! He sucked for 4 years before they let him go, and he got fat, and then he took steroids, and then he got good. He shouldn't even be on the Red Sox Hall of Fame.
That is entirely false. If you look at his numbers, Roger Clemens was as good as ever in 1994, 95, and 96. In 94, he should have won the Cy Young Award. In 95, he had 2 bad starts that torpedoed his numbers for the year. In 96, he had 7 starts where he allowed 2 runs or fewer, but didn't get the win. Take a look at his interior numbers, and you'll see that he was as good as ever despite the 1-loss record. Please refer to this recording next time you want to make this statement.
See how simple that is? At the touch of a button, you have facts that are pre-recorded that you can dispense to your overreactionary Sully from Revere friends. This is also useful when talking past trades, which people always have 20/20 hindsight about. Here's one. How? How did they trade Jeff Bagwell for Larry Anderson? How could you give up a Hall of Famer like that? Come on, Jeff Bagwell, you gave him up for a guy who was with the team for a month and a half.
This is a common misconception. Jeff Bagwell was never going to play third base for the Red Sox at the major league level. At the time, Wade Boggs was firmly entrenched in the middle of his Hall of Fame career at third, and Scott Cooper was right behind him at AAA, ready to fill in case of injury, and they had him in much higher regard. Bagwell was not going to play third base for the Red Sox. Therefore, he was expendable in a trade for Larry Anderson, who provided some much-needed bullpen help down the stretch and helped the Red Sox win the division. In 99% of these trades, the prospect turns out to be nothing. The Astros just happened to hit the jackpot with the guy they got in return.
And see, you can even use it to encourage your smart friends too. Listen to this. I disagree. I think a worse trade in recent history is the trade of Jamie Moyer for Darren Bragg in 1996. Moyer went on to have over 200 wins with the Seattle Mariners and other teams and pitched till he was almost 50. Darren Bragg gave us 2 years of mediocrity in center field.
Congratulations! You are an astute baseball fan. Yes, this was one of the worst trades of recent history of the Red Sox. Yes, let's continue our conversation. You have a brain in your head.
Do you see how easy that is? Hot Takes Takeout. You have all your facts and things stored so you don't have to deal with the overreactionary hot take person that we all know and hate. Thank you, and back to our show. And we're back. I hope you enjoyed that word from our sponsor. And so the trivia answer, what was the question again?
The question was, of the immaculate innings, there's 90 thrown, only 3 pitchers ever pitched immaculate innings 3 times.
Right?
Three times.
Right.
3 times.
Right.
3 times.
And it was Kimbrel, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, it's not
Oh,
Kimbrel.
oh,
Oh, I thought it was Kimbrel.
No.
Sale.
Sale is
Sale.
right.
Okay, it was Sale.
Good
it was,
Sale.
It was either Kimbrel or Sale. All right, I knew it was one or the
It
other.
was Sale.
No, there he is right there. There's
There he is.
Sale.
That's
Yeah.
Sale.
3 times. I think Kimbrel's done it twice. I'm almost positive he's done it twice.
We're screwing up the truck with keeping on.
This is live television, ladies and gentlemen.
Look, it's bright light back here. We can't see our
We
notes.
can't, yeah, no, we can't see anything under these lights. So, anyway, back to the rivalry. See, rivalries are very difficult in the age of free agency because it's not like the old days where you had, Mantle versus Williams for 15, however long they went against each other, or even in the late 90s, early 2000s, when the Yankees had that block of players, Rivera, Posada, and Jeter, and O'Neill, and Brocious, and Pettit, and all those guys
What's
that were those
interesting
teams.
about that, the fact that it's a rivalry, there's only been 3 trades.
Right.
On any note.
Right.
It was Easler versus, they got from Baylor.
Easler from Baylor, I remember that
Lyle
one.
and Carter.
Right.
And Elson Howard in 67
Right.
from Greeny.
Oh, yeah.
And other than Roos Ruffing and Pennick, that the Yankees stole.
They pretty much bought.
They never dealt with each other.
Right. Oh God, yeah. I remember the Sparky Lyle for Danny Cater. We'll just forget that one for now. That's won't do that. But it's I don't know. And to be perfectly honest, I think I think the rest of America probably kind of rolls its eyes because every time the Red Sox and Yankees play on the weekend, Fox gets the Saturday and ESPN gets the Sunday. And it's a little much after a while. There are other teams out there. Same thing, I'm sure people feel the way about the Cardinals and Cubs too. Cardinals-Cubs is always the Sunday night game and the Fox game on Saturday. There are 30 teams, people. And if you want to market the game, you have to showcase every team at some point. You have to.
Well, we're getting a little skippy on time, so maybe we take that up again next show.
I think so. That's a good idea.
In any case, again, thanks to Dan, John, and Deb for trying to keep us in line here. So we jump from one-
This is especially challenging for them this week. Again, we're under lights. We can't see our notes very well.
And this is not scripted.
This is not
It's
scripted.
not been rehearsed.
That's not
This
rehearsed.
Is on live TV.
Live TV, and we are getting older too. So,
Shut up.
So, from all of us at Talking Baseball, thank you for watching. We appreciate the audience, and we're just up here having fun. I hope you had fun watching this too.
We'll see you all anon.
Take care,
and
everyone.
Stay away from subways.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 cycle out and the whole ring. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. Let me root for the whole team. If they don't win, it's a